Sydney 2000s Olympics opening ceremony, Alexis Frisbee. In the image I have chosen of the 2000s Sydney Olympics opening ceremony, I will be exploring what the image conveys in terms of representation in sport, gender and race, nationalism and the myth, ideologies and norms. Ideology and myth. Firstly, the Anzac legend is represented in this image as a dominant story highlighted by the large group of men riding on horses. The way in which the horses are organized in this image appear ritualistic and also present itself as a stereotype, constructing meaning with the Australian men being the bushman. This reinforces the outback mythology associated with Australia. The image continues to limit the views of Australia as a bush country and emphasizing the national identity, which is based on what are considered to be shared character traits often deriving from history. Elder C 2020. Ultimately, this image fosters false realities on what Australian men encompass, that being the bushman, and how the national story is not an innocent reflection of a state and its peoples. Rather, it is a way in which complexity and differences can be silenced by reference to a bigger unifying story. Elder C 2020. Nationalism. As Elder C 2020 states, one of the benefits for the host nation of an Olympics is there is the chance to use the amazing global television audience for the games to tell a national story. The Olympics was utilised to frame and reinvent what contemporary Australia entailed, and to convey significant components of national Australian tales. The opening ceremony serves as a demonstration of the themes that have historically characterised popular narratives about the country, like commentaries and representational codes, and their purpose in perpetuating a specific set of relationships between Indigenous Australians with non-Indigenous Australians, as well as the relationship between masculinity and femininity. However, these representations of the bushranger and the outback mythology normalizes them as myths, and how ideology can creep into media and television. Kid J 2016, which ultimately reinforces them. As a result, the staging of the Olympic Games exposed significant concerns with national identity and conceptions of being Australian, demonstrating that nationalism is an ideology that cannot directly reflect reality in what Australia actually is. Representation in sport, gender and race. Finally, the use of predominantly male individuals riding the horses fails to represent how women are also involved in male-dominated sports, thus demonstrating the prevalence of hegemonic masculine media representations in sport. Pavlidis A, Kennelly M, and Castro L.R. 2020. With being such a monumental event viewed by 200 million, Elder C 2020, Australia had the opportunity to portray itself in a contemporary way. However, reverting to the traditional representations of outback mythology, it failed to provide a platform for diverse representations of sportsmen and women, and their successes and their failures. Pavlidis A, Kennelly M, and Castro L.R. 2020. Furthermore, the use of representational code of the stereotypical portrayal of white men riding horses perpetuates the norm of male Australians as white, tough, and the national ethos of courage and valour. This also alludes to how colonialism still infiltrates our country with horse riding, which was imported as an English sporting tradition, reinforcing cultural bonds and chivalric and patriotic ideals. Thus, through analysing this image through the lenses of ideologies, myths, nationalism, and representation in sport, gender and race, we can comprehend what is truly being revealed despite what it aims to reflect. Thank you.